Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast, the place for smart, simple strategies that will amplify your business results. Sharing practical tips, insider knowledge, and actionable advice because marketing is something that every business owner can do. Now, let's get started. Introducing your host, Bianca McKenzie, mum, lover of snow sports, camping, horse riding, and in-demand launch strategist and Facebook advertising knowledge bank.
Welcome to the New School of Marketing podcast. I'm Bianca McKenzie, and today I am talking about photography for good with Gemma Carr. Photography found Gemma early on, way back in high school. She has been fortunate enough to make a career ever since. Alongside being a photographer, she has also been an elite level athlete. Oh, we need to talk about that. I'm curious about that. And more recently, a mum of two. She lives in Melbourne, where she enjoys a great mix of diverse work projects and soaking up a beautiful city and surrounds. She loves photographing businesses who are doing good for the planet and its people. She wants to highlight product and service businesses that are sustainable in resources and within the business structure itself. Welcome to the podcast, Gemma. So excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Bianca.
Hey. Let's have a little bit of a chat. And I had read your bio, but now I'm reading it again. I must have skipped over that athlete part. Can we talk about that first?
Sure. I used to be an elite level athlete, and it's quite a random sport, very niche. I was an inline speed skater. So it's like rollerblades, but with extra wheels.
Oh.
And, very fast. Yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't even know that there was an option not even in Australia. Because when you said inline speed skater, I'm like, oh, ice skating or no, but similar, but on roller.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I went around and around in circles a lot.
Yes. Well, kind of the same as with ice skating, which is what I did a little bit of. That's really cool. That is really cool. Do you still do a little bit of that or not at all?
Not really. It's one of those things that I was really good at it, and now when I dip my toe back in, I'm really I've lost all my finesse. So I'm like, oh, I'm not good at this anymore. I'll leave this to the others. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Usually hurts now.
So photography in high school, that's a long kind of it is great when you can turn your passion into a career. So tell us a little bit more about, what you do. I know it's photography, but also, I want to know, because we're all business people listening to this podcast, how can photography help a product-based and a service-based business? Because a lot of us, I get the product-based, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well, but I know that you've got more to, tell us and teach us about that. But also service-based business, any business really. I think any business needs photography. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel like strong images can really help you share your message. And, for example, we were talking about this earlier, that I think really strong photography can make or break a website, and it can really do the heavy lifting for you on a website as far as showing what you do and what you sell and how you sell it and why you're different. Like, it can really convey that message really quickly. And you can have copy and text to accompany images, but I think the images just do it quicker. And sometimes people don't want to read the text. They're just rolling through really quickly. They might be doing other things, but if they can get a visual cue to what you do, I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, I think that's the first kind of thing that stands out on a website as well. People tend to read the copy after they have been, after their curiosity has been sparked by the images, I reckon. And I was literally just thinking, as you were talking about that, I was like, yeah, if you put two e-commerce websites next to each other, or even two service-based websites, and one of them had images with really bad lighting, different sizes, we all know, those kind of websites, versus something with yes, exactly. Oh gosh, I think I saw a stock photo on something the other day with the stock photo watermark still on it. Okay. No. But yeah, if you put two websites together, it shows your message, but it also shows professionalism.
Yeah.
I think that's part of photography as well. So when you work with people, how do you make sure that you get the kind of shots that people want and expect? Because I can imagine that people have a vision in their head. So how do you translate that vision? Like, how do you get that vision out of their head? Because you can't get in their head.
Well, I ask a lot of questions. There's always a photography brief. So that's a really good starting point to build like a shot list and a framework around what we're going to do. But what I say to most people is like, imagine the photo shoot is finished and you're seeing your photos for the first time. What do you hope to see? Like, what is a good result here? And then you kind of work backwards from there. So that could be just talking through the ideas with my clients and figuring out like, do they want like bright, colourful images? Do they want dark, moody images? Do they want to show themselves in the images or a certain location? Like, it's all the elements that make up an image. We just start piecing it together and, you know, what you want to wear, who's going to be in the photos, where are they going to be taken? And really it is something that gets easier the more I work with people. So the clients who keep coming back to me again and again, like we get it down to a really fine art where I know exactly what they want. They just like, Gemma, can you come on this date? We want the same thing again. Like it gets easier and easier. But that initial first photo shoot, it can be quite overwhelming. Often people aren't used to being in photos, you know, you're in photos on people's phones and things, but like to just have 2 hours of yourself being photographed can be quite confronting. So it's a matter of just putting people at ease and knowing what they want. And I'm always asking about values and point of difference and why people do what they do. And it's just getting to know people as well before the photo shoot and then through the photo shoot. There's lots of chatting and it's really casual and I'm taking the photos, but I'm also getting to know the person really quickly.
Yeah.
The process. Yeah.
I think that would really help with the type of photos as well. When you get to know someone, like that brand comes out and how they want to portray themselves. And I'm specifically talking about, you know, solopreneurs or people with a small team. Yeah, like your photos, especially if you are the business, like you're it, then you kind of want to convey who you are, and because you're not one person at home and one person in the business. That tends to happen when you're in corporate a little bit, but you want to be yourself. You want to show that to your clients. And I know that a lot of coaches and a lot of people in business talk about like visibility and showing your face. And how do you sort of see that? Because you get to see behind the scenes and get to take photos of the people that are going to put it out there. Do you see that it helps their businesses, and do you see that it actually is really helping with building trust? Yeah,
well, I personally like to see the face behind the business. That's just my personal preference. I think regardless of what the business is, like a plumber, I don't know, a nail technician, like whatever.
I want to know who comes to my house if it's a plumber.
And I think it helps with connection. So it's not so much what the person looks like. It's not like going, oh, that person's got red hair.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Critiquing them. It's just to build that familiarity.
Yeah.
And connection and trust and brand recognition. And I think it's not for everyone. If that doesn't feel comfortable for you to be the face of your business, I think that's okay too. But maybe look to other ways that you could build that trust and connection. You know, for example, on your Instagram reels, if you don't want to have your face on there, you could use your voice, and even that would help too. But I do feel like if I was looking, say, for someone to come and install some blinds in my house, and I'm looking at one website A and website B, and the first one has photos of the people, I just feel like, oh, I know a little bit about them. I can picture that person's coming to my house. I know what to expect, and I think it just really helps with connection for me. So I see that happening for my clients too, and really been able to market with confidence because they've got images that they look really good in. So they're happy to share them. They're not worrying. You know, when you see a photo of yourself, we often pick it apart. We're like, oh, I look like this and I shouldn't have worn that. But when you're paying for a photo shoot and you're putting a lot of thought into it, you really kind of give it your all. And often you come away with photos you love. That's the idea. So then you're happy to use them. You feel confident using them. And then that opens a door to like easier marketing, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And there's actually a lot of research and stats that about pages are the most visited pages on a website, even though they're not supposed to be about us, they are still about us because people want to know who's behind the business. And I totally agree. I also look at, and it's not about what they look like. It is that, having that trust factor, that connection, and like even if you don't look at what they look like, the image gives a vibe. It's like there's this energy that comes away from it, like, you know, and I know you do this as well when you work with businesses, like you've photographed them in their element, in their, you know, in their habitat.
Yes, totally.
It's like, so even if it's photos of someone at work doing the thing, you know, like someone who installs blinds, installing the blinds, and like it's that energy that comes from it, and I think that really helps as well.
And also you can bring in that level of professionalism, like in how you're presenting yourself.
I totally agree with that.
But that About Us page, like I am, like that is my go-to. Every time I go to a website, I'm like About Us. Like that's my first go-to every time.
Me too. There is so much research out there. There's so many statistics that is the most visited page on a website. And I do the same. I really do the same. So I know that you're passionate about I know that you're passionate about photography and that you're passionate about business and that you're passionate about the environment. So how do you use photography for good? Because, you know, we made it this title. I want to know what you're doing to use photography for good.
Well, I feel like particularly small businesses are so agile and they can really, like, we can move with the times and adopt new processes that are better and like less gimmicky or more transparent, and you could make choices about how you're running your business and serving your clients that have less impact on the environment, for example. So I see good business as one that uses its platform as a chance to be inclusive, offering alternatives to the way we do business that is transparent and empowering for your customers and clients. Photography to literally show the good you're doing in the world. So if your business is doing good stuff, we can visually share your values, your brand voice, your messaging. So, for example, you might have a business that's putting really strong COVID safety measures in place. We can photograph people wearing masks or how you socially distance. Like that's one example of someone might consider that good. You could feature, make sure you're not using models in your photos, but your actual staff, like showing the diversity amongst your team and the ways that you're incorporating sustainable practices within your business. So that might be in your packaging. You may have a delivery system that uses less fuel, and we could do a photo of your delivery driver and the business owner in front of the truck. And it gives you that launch pad to then talk about what you're doing.
And what you're passionate about and that kind of sustainability side of things. And I really love when you're talking about using your actual staff and not models. But if you're thinking about e-commerce as well, you would probably use models. But I love e-commerce sites that use a diverse range of models. Like I need to see that they are using literally models of all different sizes, and like, you know, they need to include everyone. I don't like shopping from brands that don't have that. And I get there's a cost involved. I get that. But if there is none of that, I need to see that they are supporting women of color. I need to see that they are supporting women with disabilities. And if there are not different sizes, I get really annoyed, because if I only see it on a size 8, I don't know what it's going to look like on me.
And we want to see ourselves in the images. And I'm like a thin white woman. Like there's plenty of images like of me, but there needs to be diversity and equal representation, and we just need to do all of us be aware of that with our marketing. But even if I'm photographing, just say a group of lawyers and we've got a mix of male and female, I'll be careful not to get shots where it's just a man talking to the women, like mansplaining. Like I'm really aware of those dynamics and how they play out, and they don't benefit us moving forwards. They're very old-fashioned, and just making everyone look more equal is really important to me.
I think that is great. I'm so glad to see those changes, and that things are you notice it when it's not happening.
Yes.
especially in the online space. Yeah, sometimes I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, what were they thinking? But it's so good that it's interesting, because I think a lot of people don't actually think about this. We have so many visuals around us, but they sometimes don't think about how that can be used and how that can be done in their business using all of that. And like the businesses that are focused on it, they will use it like that. But I think that is just brilliant. So you've been obviously doing this for a long time.
Yes,
given that, doing it like so long, and like if you started in high school, and you've really built your brand to work for you. And I don't know, maybe there's always the social highlight reels, but you seem to sort of have like a really good flow and in your schedule and in your marketing and how you're all doing it. What are your tips for having that flow and really like avoiding the whole hustle? Because I know you're anti-hustle and being more aligned. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for saying that, Bianca. That's nice to hear, because I'm someone who really I struggle with structure. So I'm very quick to react and be like, oh, I want to share this on social media, and I'll just do it in the moment. So overall, I am trying to just have a little bit of consistency and be present. But with what I share, it's very authentic to how I'm feeling. If I don't feel like posting something, I will not force myself to do it. I don't have a strict schedule. I really am led by what I'm inspired by. And then I'm trying to also offer value and not just share things just for the point of putting something on Instagram. So I'm always looking for something like valuable to say, and who knows if I get that right, but I'm just always trying. I feel like social media, like you just can have so many runs at it and just keep trying and trying.
Yeah.
But I have learned not to force myself to do it if I'm not feeling it. And that's probably my best advice.
I think that's a really good one. I did that for a while as well, and at the moment I've been doing that for a really long time, because sometimes when you're juggling little children and transitions and changes, it's just not going to happen. And I do a lot of work behind the scenes for my clients still, but sometimes I'm not necessarily putting something up to share. So let's talk a bit more about photography and brand building and all of that. So how do you build a brand and communicate and share your values through images? Like I know that we've already sort of talked about being inclusive and showing those kind of things. So let's pick a business. Let's pick a business, because it's sometimes can be quite easy for some businesses to show their values. But what if you're a business, for example, like lawyers or like people who do computer work, like me, and there are things that I do for good, but how could a business that does computer work, let's just call it computer work, how do they share their values? I mean, because it's people. So how can you then communicate those values through images?
So I feel like a well thought out photo shoot should incorporate your values and your messaging, and it's not always clear on how to do that. It can be really subtle.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's actually everything that comes together. So it's putting thought into it before you photo shoot, but it's also how comfortable you feel in front of the camera.
Yeah.
So that's my job, like to give you that space to step into and be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not feeling pressured to be larger than life if you're not larger than life. So things I would consider are how we can visualize your values. So just say, Bianca, for example, you work at your computer, but one of your values might be community. So we would work together to think of some images and ideas that would visualize community. So that could be hands coming together, or it could be you could use text to write the word community on a vision board. You could be pinning it to a wall. It could be, people use balloons to write words, but I don't like balloons because they're not sustainable. So,
yeah, me too.
That sort of thing can work. It's encompassing community through what you do. And if that is a value of yours, it actually radiates from you as well.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a bit silly.
No. I completely get that. And while you were talking about that, I was thinking about it. I'm like, how could I, do some of my values in images? One of the things that is important to me is also sustainability, looking after planets. And since moving to Tassie and getting to know a lot of the Tassie specific animals that are not on the mainland, are only in Tassie, and endangered species and stuff, I've become quite passionate about that. So it's how could I'm not going to go on a photo with a spotted quoll. They're super cute, but it's I love animals, and animals is a big part of me, and I'm super down to earth. I would never have a photo shoot, and trust me, I've done this in the past, but I would never again have a photo shoot in a blazer because it's not me.
No,
that's literally the first thing I ditched when I stopped working for someone else was clear out my wardrobe, and I'm I am never ever going to wear a blazer again unless it's in fashion and I like it and I want to, but not because I must. Right now I'm in jeans and a t-shirt. That's me. So that's kind of how I would portray myself, but I would love to also have animals in my photo shoot, and looking at the 3 horses in my paddock at the moment that are not mine, they're registered here. But having horses and having animals in my photos, I'm even though it's got nothing to do with my work, it has everything to do with me. And I think, I can see how values can be communicated also through showing the person that you are.
100%. And if you're with the animals and you're comfortable, people can see that, and then Bianca loves animals. They can connect with you really quickly with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you can bring props into it, and I could take a photo of you drawing a picture of an animal. It can get very literal. I was just thinking about community as I was talking about before, but that could be images of your team celebrating someone's birthday. That's an important thing that doesn't go unnoticed. It's such a simple thing to do. And that can even be a Zoom call photo, a photo of your screen of you all Zooming together singing happy birthday. There's so many ways you can approach it. But
I love it. I think a lot of people don't, maybe it's just me, don't think about, how a photo shoot can be so much more than just the photo of the thing or the photo of you. I love that. It's really, really good. So how, I know we both sort of talked about, values, sustainability. How do you communicate that and express that in your business? I'm curious.
Well, I've got a few things. So I shoot products as well as service-based businesses. So really clearly with my product work, it's easy to define that I won't use plastic props. I repaint my backdrop boards. So I'm not buying more and more backdrops. I'm just repainting the same ones. I use a lot of natural foliage elements. So I will just go for a walk and find things, and then, they just decompose in the garden afterwards.
Yeah.
So that's a clear one. I'm really reusing things and not introducing waste while I'm creating my product photography. But for my business itself, I try to check in that what I'm doing is sustainable for my energy, because I hate seeing business owners burning out. And I mean, we're all kind of guilty of that at some point, but I like to see sustainable business practices. So you're running a business that you're not just getting by with, but it is sustainable and it's viable and it's thriving, and you're feeding off the energy of a good running business. So
Yeah.
I am really, since the pandemic, I've been much more careful with my energy and where I fling it about.
Yeah.
So if I'm offering a new service, I will really sit down and think, is it necessary? Is it viable? And is it something I'm going to want to do over and over again? Or is it going to drain me? Like, is it going to lift me up and inspire me, or am I going to be drained by that? And if I'm going to be drained, I just won't introduce that service, even if I could make money off it and there's a gap in the market and all the things. That's like this shiny thing over there. I have to be really careful not to just jump on that. So I'm constantly like refining my services to just, so my clients are getting the best out of me, but I'm coming away from it like not depleted.
I love it. That's amazing, because like when we think about sustainability, sometimes we don't think about ourselves, right?
Yeah, and like we are, like I am my business. Without me being healthy and
happy,
it just doesn't work. Like, so I want to do every photo shoot with my best energy and focus and all of that. So I have limits on how many shoots I would do in a week, and I will say no to people, or I'll push the time out. I don't let people set my calendar for me. I set the appointments, and it's little things like that. Also pricing. Like I've been in photography for so long, and I've done, the decade or so of feeling like I had to prove myself and get the runs on the board and get experience. And I've done that now, and I'm not interested in running a business that isn't profitable. Like I could just go and get a job. If that was the case. So particularly in photography, like I see so many photographers, just because it's such a fun thing to do and it's rewarding, and, it's a great hobby and pastime. And if you can make it your career, it's excellent. But there's a lot of photographers that are just skimming by, and it's not fair. It's not sustainable. No. You can't live like that.
No, you can't. And especially with, now the cost of everything going up as well. No, you need to, and I guess that's where it becomes a little bit tricky, because like everyone can take photos these days. I'm not saying everyone can take good photos. I'm just saying everyone can take photos, but like not necessarily good photos. People see the real value of people like me see the real value of an actual good photographer. and paying to invest in that. And you know what, sometimes, I don't know, maybe this is just me, I don't mind photography at all. Like I don't mind being in front of the camera. I actually like to have certain snippets of my life documented.
I love people like you. You're rare. You're the rare kind.
I love having snippets of my life documented. Like especially family photography, like obviously there's the almost daily photographs on my iPhone, and I'm probably running out of space pretty soon, but it's different when someone else takes the photos, and when they're actually really good photos. Like I take photos, and I like looking at the photos on my iPhone, but it's just a different kind of thing when you're getting a photo shoot. And I love getting the photo shoot. I don't have the time for it right now, but I even love the hair and the makeup and the just getting pampered for a minute. It's just great. Like I love having the different parts of my life. Like I once did a boudoir photo shoot. Would have never in my life thought I would ever do that, but I won it at a raffle. And now I look back at those images, the pre-baby images, and I love having them. It's like it's just cool looking back at that, going, oh, I'm still kicking myself that we didn't have a photographer at the birth.
They're really special days.
I would have so loved photos of my birth with my daughter. The second one was not possible. That was too fast. There was no time. But I would have so loved to have those photos. But like I don't know. I think having photography is just, it's a super special thing. And as we've been talking about, I would say it's vital for a business in a digital age.
Yeah.
Even if, and like, let's not talk about people that don't have websites because, that's a whole different story. Even if you don't have a website, you should have some, something like a photo somewhere. People know who they're doing business with because, it's just, not cool.
One more note on that question.
Yeah.
Also, I think sometimes when you're shopping around for a photographer, it can be really tempting to be like, to think that you need more and like a longer photo shoot and more images. And actually, I think the reverse is true. I'm not trying to sell my services here, but I think having a 2-hour photo shoot and 30 images that really hit the mark is better than a 4-hour photo shoot and 600 images and you only like a small percentage of them. Like I think it's better to concentrate in on your messaging. And I'm working with a client soon and she's like, yep, we've got 30 images. She has written down what she would like for her 30 images and she's added a few extras on in case some don't work. And I'm like, she's going to get such a great result, like coming into it with that headspace. It's always people with clarity around what they want come away with the best shots.
I agree with that. I think it is important to know what you want up front rather than kind of, just going in and seeing what you like later on. I think the opposite approach is good, to know the exact kind of shots you want and what you want to portray and why. I think that's really important. Like there's probably only a few images I keep using for my kind of things. And I honestly do need a new photo shoot. I'm still using the images that we did together and images that I did with someone before I had children. I think it might have been 2017 and I think with you it was 2019. I'm still using those images because I haven't done a new photo shoot. It's at the moment it's just, I don't know, it's just a bit tricky. I need to, my hair is getting grey and which is fine. It's just I don't want that in the photos yet, like at some point I will. But I don't want that in the photos yet. But with a baby, it'll happen.
You'll get there when you're ready.
Yes. Yeah. And I do know that I kind of already know what kind of photos I want. Like I want that sort of rustic kind of vibe, that down to earth, like, because that's me. I mean, I'm wearing Birkenstock. I'm the Birkenstock mum. And
we could get a photo of you like burning a blazer.
Yes. That is not me.
That blazer.
Yeah. And I like to sit around a campfire, so I'm happily like to drop it in there. Like that's just me, like camping, going out there and animals, horses, being in nature. That's my vibe, and that's kind of that's the person I am. Like I love doing work. Honestly, I can ask my husband. He has to pull me off the computer sometimes, but it's not necessarily, my vibe is not like the computer kind of photos. That's not me. It's I don't know how you would then how you would put that into sort of photos. Like my ideal is more to be out in nature and with animals, even though it was kind of really weird because I spent most of my time on the computer, but looking.
Well, you could take your computer out into the wild as well, but really, photos where you're in your happy environment, and then you can use those and talk to why they came to pass, and you could draw some great content from those as well.
I think it needs to sort of be like that happy medium. I think having a super nice Airbnb in a nice spot and like still having the computer there, I think that would kind of work as well. Anyway,
I like this shoot.
I think it'd be really nice. And maybe I need to come to Victoria because I don't know, that the area where you live, that always has a special sort of place in my heart, sort of that area, that and the high country. One day I'm going to live in the high country of Victoria. It's been really interesting to sort of talk about this because I didn't even think about a lot of these sort of concepts with photography. But we really should wrap it up.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you 2 more questions that I ask everyone.
Okay.
What are you curious about right now?
In general, I'm curious about always finding ways to do business better, just for myself, and then offering a better experience for my clients. That's just always simmering along. But I am also starting some video content with a photography website, and I'm really interested to see where that leads. I'm very nervous about it, but I feel like that could open some doors that I don't even know are there.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting, and I'm really we're in talks at the moment, and it's all new, but it feels really exciting.
That's exciting.
This would be me doing training videos for photographers. So
that's
totally new role for me. But also I've got a lot of experience, so I must have, and they've chosen me, so there must be something I can share. So
yeah, no, I think that would be really, really awesome, because you do have a lot of experience, and I love that you know your values, you know yourself, and you work with that rather than, looking at all the other things, everything that, someone else is doing. I think it's really so good that you're doing business your way.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get caught up in comparison with other people. And I actually think just seeing how someone does something and copying it, I do not think it works. I can't think of anyone that works for. No. And it's even I think you've got to be really careful with courses you take, where they promise you something really over the top, but this is going to happen if you do my course. And then if you're just cookie cutter what they've done, it's generally not aligned with you. No. And it doesn't land. So no. I think it's okay to take in lots of information, but just really do what feels right for you, and don't feel pressured to have all the things in place all the time like everyone else. You'll generally find what works for you. Just take your foot off the pedal a bit and just be okay, that's not feeling good over there, but hang on, this feels good to send a newsletter or podcast or whatever it is. It's really nice being on your podcast, but I'm not really interested in all the production of a podcast.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't start that. Even though I love podcasts and I can see the benefits of them. And, that might change in time to come. But at the moment, I'm no, I'll leave podcasting to other people.
Yeah, that was me for a long time as well.
Yeah, I imagine it's a process to get there.
Which is totally, totally fine. Yeah, I did blogging and then I got bored with blogging.
Yeah.
But then I started a podcast. I can't remember who said it, but someone else, I saw it recently. They said, do one thing and completely nail that before you do all the things.
Yeah.
Or any of the other things. And I think that is a really good thing. If you do podcasting really, really, really well. Then start doing other stuff. If you do blogging or if you do social media. And it's so hard because there are so many places that you can show up and that you can be, but it's so hard to do.
Also not beating yourself up about not doing all the things. No one benefits from that. Of you just sitting there, I'm the worst business owner, I don't have this and I don't have that and I need to update my website and I need to do this. Just be kind to yourself and chip away at it, and it'll everything keeps moving. As soon as you make a website, within a few weeks you're I want to change it.
Yes, that is true.
And, that's just one part of business. That is happening with your social media, that's happening with all the ways you're showing up. Yeah. I
agree. And don't beat yourself up about it. I take a bit of that medicine every day, because there's always something. It's I didn't do that. I couldn't. Social media, if you look at my Instagram at the moment, there is nothing. I haven't posted anything for a long time, but I'm kind of in the space of evaluating whether or not it's serving me, and I don't know if it is. So at the moment I'm you know what, and it's a really good experiment sometimes as well. It's stop doing it, see if it makes a difference. Nothing's, and the world's not burning down.
You might have a really sustainable business without social media, so why add it in as just an extra thing you have to do?
Exactly.
You've got enough work.
Exactly.
We don't all have to be growing and scaling, and could be really happy just I don't want any staff members, I don't want extra photographers, I want to keep it just me, so I can't take on too much, and I'm not interested in
Yeah, I think that is a really good point. But it's so hard though, isn't it? Because all you see around, or all I see around myself is scale this, scale that. And I'm like, look, I just want to make money to pay my bills. I just want to do what I love.
Yeah. And that's like capitalism in a nutshell, is that just has to keep growing. And we are swimming in that soup of like, that's the message we've heard all our lives.
Yeah.
It's like
bigger
more, bigger, better, show how productive you are, all that sort of thing. And it's not often sustainable.
It is not at all. I honestly, I can vouch for it. I literally had a run-in with burnout at the end of last year.
Yeah.
So definitely not sustainable.
Well,
okay, last question.
Feeling better now.
Oh, yes, much better. If you had an extra $5,000 in your marketing budget, what would you spend it on?
So tricky. I do need to move my website from Squarespace 7 to 7.1. So I would do that. But I'm actually kind of doing that already. Like the wheels have started to turn on that. So I'd put some money towards that. I would get my finances a bit more in order.
Yeah.
I have trouble managing my cash flow. Like I get a lot of variation from month to month. Like figuring out how to pay myself first and then pay the bills. I would love to get to that point and automate some stuff, but like I think I need someone to help me with that. And maybe attending some events that would inspire me.
Yeah.
And they might be outside of like photography or business things. Yeah, that's what comes to mind. I don't know if I could even do like Google ads or Facebook ads. I don't know about that. You could probably tell me more about that.
Well, you don't have to. Just because I do Facebook ads doesn't mean that you need to spend your budget there. You're already doing socials and being visible. Sometimes a little bit of advertising money can help you. It really just depends on if you need more clients and you know where you want to be seen. But you know, events sounds amazing now that events are back on.
I know.
It's like, can someone take the baby?
Yeah.
Not happening. All right. Well, that is the end of this week's show. If you have any questions about using photography for good, well, and obviously to get yourself some amazing brand photos, head to gemmacarr.com. Is it .com or .com.au? .com.au. I'll pop it in the show notes anyway. A really, really big thanks to you, Gemma. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. You're very gentle.
And thanks to you for listening. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you heard the podcast. Your review will help others find the show and learn more about the amazing world of online marketing. And don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode at newschoolofmarketing.com, where you can learn more about Gemma, check out useful links, download free resources, and leave a comment about the show.